folks, what if I came to this chair right here in the Prepared Mind headquarters? What if I came here and told you there's no SHTF, there's nothing wrong, everything is really close to normal, we're just that far away. We just need some more people to take the Jim Jones juice, nothing to worry about. You would probably believe that if you weren't part of this network and part of the network of prepping and thinking and patriotism. Because if you listen to the media, they carry the water. They are now an arm of the agenda that is driving this country in an anti-American direction. It is incredible, folks, what is happening. You need to realize, just like I need to realize, I get to this every single day, folks. I question the reality. I question the narrative. I question what is being said and done to us because I want to make sure I understand it, right? The mainstream media now is cheering the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, that is the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. They're cheering, yeah, you get those parents for speaking out at school board meetings. And why are they speaking out? Because they want their children to be able to breathe, to be free. They want their children to be free from LGBT propaganda and pornography. They want their children to be free of the anti-American, anti-parent, anti-white, anti-law and order hate that is taught through CRT. And they want their children to learn, reading, writing, arithmetic, history, that kind of stuff. And so how does it go from we want our children to be strong and smart and America's a good place to hating America? Hating America and then hating anyone who opposes the destruction of America. Well, we can see very clearly, I think, with the mainstream media how this works, because they're actually they're promoting, they're cheering, they're pushing on, they're carrying the water for the government. In other words, and another way of looking at this is the mainstream media is now part of the government, They're like an extension of the bureaucracy. That is why they need to destroy this network and why I need you to be part of patreon.com, why I need you to share these videos. Because at some point they're going to pull it, folks. They're not going to allow any alternative opinions. That sort of thing is coming. It is coming big time, folks. And I want to share and kind of go through this with you through several different news stories, right? The fact that the media is now cheering this on. They're promoting this idea that, well, the man whose son-in-law, his daughter's husband, is making big bank off of selling critical race theory materials to the schools of America. Systemic social emotion, systemic social emotional learning. Really? How about facts and knowledge? Nope, we need systemic social emotional learning. And Merrick Garland is going to punish parents for opposing this. And it's all part of the same agenda. Funny how this works, is it not? Funny how this works. And folks, the media, it's not just print media, it's not just news media, but it is now entertainment media that's part of this social, emotional, systemic rewriting of America. And there's two factions in America. Those who buy into all of this left-wing garbage, and then those of us who never moved. We've sat right here on our chair, holding an American flag, drinking a glass of iced tea, saying, this is America. Freedom, liberty, real history. Well, they're continuing. And this isn't new. They've been doing this for years. I think for at least 20 years, the government agents in training have been exposed as saying things like, well, in today's world, the founding fathers of America would have been considered domestic terrorists. They've been pushing that. Well, they were domestic terrorists back then. So if you're a patriot today, you come up through the history, you must be or could be considered a domestic terrorist today. And that's just what we have. Going so far as the FBI investigating parents who want to protect their children, promote America, are domestic terrorists. Folks, there's another in a long series of shows. NBC, once again, media, mainstream media, they've got a show basically equating the founding fathers' slogan, "Don't tread on me," and "Unite or die," that this is somehow Nazi. They're trying to equate founding fathers not just as domestic terrorists, folks, or extremists. They're tying them now to the Nazis. Why are they doing this? Now, if you understand who the Nazis were, they were a political party that was very strong in Germany until they took absolute 100% control of the entire German government and bureaucratic structure. The way they did this, folks, was propaganda, false flag demonstrations, protests, and violence on the streets, and using the media. This is exactly what is being done to us right now. In order to destroy America, they don't need to just destroy it today, they need to destroy it in the far past. And that's what they're doing. And NBC is part of that, CBS, CNN, they're all part of this. Now, what's fascinating is a lot of the American people don't buy all that garbage. A lot of us, about 50%, are sitting here going, no, that's not how it is. That's not how it was. And we're not watching your shit anymore. In fact, the left-wing bilge that's coming out of mainstream media is so left and so rotten, even Democrats aren't thrilled with it. And they're continuing to lose viewers. So why are they pushing this so hard? Well, they need to push it so hard so they have all of this material in the bank ready to go, because they're pushing for violence in this country, folks. They're pushing for violence. They're calling us racist while they themselves, the political left and the media, are proving themselves to be racist. They're anti-white. They're saying that being patriots is bad, but they want their democracy, their government, to be protected. Well, their idea of government is not democracy, folks. Democracy requires voting and the support and will of the people. They don't give a shit about that stuff. This is coming down to some very dangerous times, folks, when they use high-power producers and writers like the creators of the Da Vinci Code book, right? The lost symbol. They want to tie us, patriotism, to the Nazi party. That's big money, folks. That's big power. It's big propaganda. It's on par with what Joseph Goebbels was doing. And Joseph Goebbels, Nazi propagandist, minister of propaganda, was brilliant, no doubt, in an evil way. But he was not able to convince all of the German people to believe him. But he was able to convince enough to get the power to take over the country, to destroy Germany and create the Third Reich under the Nazi symbol. What do you think is happening here in America, folks? Well, in order to do that, you also have to have bad guys, right? You need a villain to point to. Now, when America, the United States of America, the whole country, looks over the ocean one way or over the ocean the other way, and they find a country like, it used to be like, say, China or Russia, and go, those are the bad guys over there. Those are the bad guys over there. Well, that unites America in saying we all need to get together and deal with that common enemy elsewhere. When a country, when a government like the DC US or US DC government, that is United States government, is in Washington, DC, folks, that little square piece of dirt on your map, teeny little point, that's Washington, DC, and it is not the United States of America. When that, right, they start dividing America, when the government looks at its own country and says we need to have a domestic enemy to fight, that's when you know a country or a government is trying to take over and create a new system. Germany did it, Russia did it, China did it. They looked inward, found an enemy to fight, to segregate. In Germany, it was the Jews, it was the Gypsies, it was other, shall we say, minority populations that they didn't like. So they found an enemy within and then claimed that they needed to have special powers to deprive those groups of their rights and their lives and their property and their fortunes. because they were an enemy of the state. Russia did the very same thing, folks. The Bolsheviks, the communists, took over and killed their people, tens of millions. Same with China, tens of millions, by making their own people the enemy and then saying there's a war that needs to be fought within. And key to that is propaganda. What is key to us? Key to me is facts, truth, history, intelligent thought. We need to understand what is going on. We need to see where we're at in this system because it's falling apart. Now, once again, don't forget we have a Second Amendment. Never lose heart. But we can see in both government and government bureaucrats and the acting world, the media, how the media is part of the government and how government controls the media. They work together. You know, we've got a terrific example of that. And I want to give you just a little reminder.
And not just to think about, well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision. There comes a time when you do have to give up what you consider your individual right of making your own decision. It's vaccination or disciplinary action.
And it's more than just having to do with the Jim Jones juice. It's everything in our culture. You don't have a right, they want you to believe. Screw your freedoms. You're going to learn what they want you to learn. You're going to listen to the media and believe what they tell you. Now, get this. Giancarlo Esposito, a Breaking Bad actor, he has said that for people in America who refuse to do what the medical experts say is you should go to a small island and sequester yourself. They're continuing to divide us with harder and harder lines. Screw your freedom. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is looking into things that you believe. Google has been told the government, right, needs to know who is searching for what. And if you're searching for certain keywords, they're going to find out and you are on a list. You've got to see where this is heading, folks. There is no good that can come from government having this much power over us, enough to where they can say, screw your freedoms, and you're going to give up your individual rights. There comes a time when you have to give up your, since when? What time is that? Every time that's happened, we've resulted in tens of millions of people being killed by their own government. Nazis, Russians, Chinese, period. Not to mention the consequential numbers of smaller countries doing the same thing. Then they are consequential, like Cuba, right? Another fine little communist regime. I'm sure the people who died because Idi Amin's, shall we say, thirst for power, I'm sure they were happy with dying for his thirst for power. But, I mean, well, Giancarlo Esposito, hey, go to a small island and sequester yourself? Isn't that kind of racist against Pacific Islanders? They've got an awful lot of islands that they live on. Do you think they want a bunch of unvaccinated bad people there? Kind of destructive to them, right? Well, I guess someone's got to sacrifice to allow these elitists to feel good about themselves. We are in big trouble with these people. They're not backing up. They're not slowing down. They're not going to stop. They're not going to change their ways. They've drawn a line in the sand. They are now pronouncing themselves to be the boss, and they're using all manner of media, entertainment, news, print, internet, social media. Everything is about pushing the left-wing agenda, and it is becoming what I would call violent, because they're suggesting that you have no rights. They're suggesting that you should go to another place, a small island, a FEMA camp. They're suggesting the same steps be taken today to remove a problem from society. The same steps taken by the Nazis, the Russians, and the Chinese, and other despotic, tyrannical governments. I have heard with my own ears people say, well, if you don't get the Jim Jones juice, you should just die. That's the attitude, folks. Are you prepared? Do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense? What these people, these left-wing supporters, don't realize is they're not on the winning team. They are not on the winning team. They don't have any more rights than you have, according to this government. If you have to give up your rights so that they can stick you, well, then those people over there willingly gave up their rights and took it just because they were told. They have just as no rights as they believe you have no rights. But because they sacrificed themselves, or rather their own will, they think we should as well. That's their attitude, folks. It is not a healthy attitude. It is not a strong attitude. It is not one it's not one full of the spirit of liberty and freedom and intelligent thought. But regardless of our opinion of them, and we have strong opinions about them, regardless of that, right? They're not going to go away. Being right, being correct, carries very little weight with tyrants. In other words, being right isn't going to stop them. What's going to stop them is your ability to defend yourself. What is going to assist in that defense and eventual victory for freedom and liberty is your ability. It'll be your ability, folks, to withstand the onslaught that's coming. You can do that if you have food. You can withstand the onslaught with water. You can withstand the onslaught with housing or a bunker or something, a safe place that is yours. And it can be the home you're in now. Food, shelter, clothing. Got to have the right clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. All of these things help us survive and to withstand this onslaught. In addition to that, the prepared mind, having the information, seeing what these people are saying and doing, so you're prepared to deal with it when they come and knock on your door and make these ridiculous demands. And then, of course, by having information, seeing, I mean, we hear what the left is saying, and then we hear what others are saying. You can choose for yourself. If these people over here only hear one side of the story, the leftists, they aren't making intelligent decisions, are they? By removing the arguments against what they believe that they are 100% correct and that there is no counter or alternative argument. And so they live in that bubble of ignorance. And while in that bubble of ignorance, they're being fed more horse shit by Breaking Bad actor. He's an actor, not a thinker, not a philosopher, not the intelligentsia. He's an actor. Or the news. People in that bubble are being fed more and more anti-American, anti-parent, anti-white, anti-straight, anti-everything, anti-American normative. How about that? American normative. Like heteronormative is bad. American normative is bad. Right? They're feeding them that more and more. So that bubble of hate and discontent on their side. Have you noticed that the government and over there, they're not fixing any problems. Things aren't getting better because of their beliefs and their actions. In fact, it's making things worse. And they're going to blame us, the normies, the American normative. They're blaming us for it. Fascinating, scary. Get prepared, folks. Get prepared in all ways. Have a plan, because chance favors the prepared mind. Godspeed to you. Semper Fi. And we'll be back in the next episode with your Q&A and more monologue on what the heck is happening. It is hump day. And we got to get over this hump. But folks, shit hitting the fan. It's going to be with us a long time.
Audio Jungle.